Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thanks very much for joining me today. As you can see, I've got a review of the Marco Chroma Colored Pencils. I apologise so much for the lack of content that I've had up with regards to reviews over the last couple of weeks. And also for the delay in getting the announcing the winner for the Koh-i-Noor giveaway. Unfortunately, the last day of September, I just got hit with a flu, and I've been floored ever since then. I've been absolutely wiped out. When I get the flu, it kills me because I'm with joints. It attacks your joints in any case, and my spine is in agony. But I needed to get this review done. I needed to get to announce the winner, and obviously then on top of all of that, Facebook and Instagram and all the rest of it was all crashed. So it's just been a bit of a nightmare. But I apologise, and I'm back around with it. And also as well, our son Jude has gone to university. We took him up about 3 weeks ago. So for the last 3 weeks, my wife and I have just been in a really low, horrible place. Our eldest daughter moved out. Now our son has gone, and we're so happy for them because they're independent. They've moved out, but it's heartbreaking. It's destroying Vicky and I. The house is horrible. We only have Amelia here, but Amelia's at college now all the time, which is excellent. She's out, she's meeting new friends and stuff like that. But as selfish parents, we love and miss our kids so much, and it's just it's terrible just getting used to the house being so quiet and horrible. I just want them back. But anyway, I just wanted to apologise for the lack of content, and obviously for the delay in getting announcing the winner of the Koh-i-Noor. Also, like I say, I'm doing a review here of the Marco Chroma Colored Pencils. You will hear me refer to two different sets. Obviously, Marco have got the Marco Chroma, and then they have this 24 set called the Marco Chroma, and they've kind of like labelled it their manga set. Now, I will be talking about this set and the differences between the two sets later on, so don't worry, I will get round to that. About 5 or 6 years ago, when I first started the channel, I reviewed the Marco Renoir. Now, way back then, the thing that drew me to the Marco Renoir was the cost. They were very cheap, and you got a relatively big size. I think it was 72 set. They only had a 72 set. Certainly here in the West, we could only get access to a 72 set, and for me that was a big deal. I wanted to get a big set, bigger palette to play about with, that type of thing. And I had not long started the channel up, so I wanted to, I wanted to get big sets of pencils as well. And I have to say, for an artist based in the UK who wasn't able to really get hold of Prismacolor, and please listen to what I'm saying here, for a UK artist, somebody that was new to colour pencils, and 5 or 6 years ago, way before like all these other lower cost big set pencils came on the market, the Marco Renoir were kind of like the closest things we could get easy access to that were close to say like Prismacolor. I'm not saying that they were exactly like Prismacolor or anything like that. I'm only saying that here in the UK 5 or 6 years ago, Prismacolor were very difficult to get hold of, and they were even more difficult to get hold of open stock. So to get a very cheap set of like 72 pencils that had a relatively soft core, nice lay down, blendability and all the rest of it, for me, I really enjoyed the Marco Renoir. I really took to them quite well. If you want, I'll have a link for that review down below if you want to go across and just take a little look at it. But also as well, back then, about 5 or 6 years ago, Marco had the Raffine out. Now, the Raffine and the Renoir were the only two sets really that Marco sold here in the West. Certainly, as far as I can remember, they're the only two sets really that they were known for. And I for some reason just didn't like the look of the Refine, and I apologize. I'm probably mispronouncing that name, but as a dyslexic, it's incredibly difficult to sound out words and all the rest of it and get the pronunciation correct. And I know people say go to Google Translate, but believe me, Google Translate doesn't get it right all the time. I put in words that I use over in Northern Ireland all the time, and when Google Translate spits the word out, it's not how we say it in Northern Ireland. So I'm afraid you have to just bear with my stupidity here, guys. But I'm sure you know what I'm talking about when I say the Refine. And but I just didn't like the look of them, and I knew I would have to get round to reviewing them one day, but I just wasn't prepared to do them way back then. So in fact, actually, it was only about a year ago that I actually got round to doing the Refine, and it was purely and simply because I wanted the Art Gear Guide to have the biggest catalogue of reviews, and I knew I was going to have to put them on sooner or later, so I got to settle them. And much to my surprise, I was really quite pleasantly happy with the Refine and the way they are and all the rest of it, and price included. Again, if you want to go across and see that review, I'll have a link down below. You can go across and take a look at the Refine review as well. But they were the only two sets. Now, about over the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, Marco have certainly started, maybe not producing, but certainly introducing more sets for us here in the West. Sets like the Marco Tribute, the Marco Square, other pencils that I've reviewed now of Marco. Now, they recently came out with the Marco Chroma. They looked really, really nice. I wanted to get hold of them and I wanted to review them. But unfortunately, when I got these, which was about, I think just at the beginning of this year, maybe March time, some in and around that time, that's when Marco had just started introducing these pencils. They were very difficult to get hold of here in the West, but that's not the case now, thankfully. So in the interest of transparency and honesty, Marco sent this set and the manga set to me to review. But let me assure anybody that's new to this channel and that doesn't know me, my first and foremost primary concern is my subscribers and viewers, the people that come on here to try and find out what a product is like. And actually, having said that, any conversations I've had with companies in the past, that's exactly what they want from me as well. The last thing, I mean, it doesn't serve anybody any purpose for me to sit here and gush about a product that is terrible. Companies, when they come to people like me and ask me to review their products, they're not just taking my word for the product on the video. They look at the comments as well. So if I come on and I say how wonderful a product is and all the rest of it, and then 90% of the comments that are put down below are saying, whoa, Harry, you're way off on this. That's not the experience I've had. And like I say, 90% of the people have the same kind of experience. Well, then that company isn't going to benefit from that whatsoever. And what these companies want is they want to know from their customers what needs to be tweaked or what they're missing or anything like that, so that they can try and rectify the problem. Because it doesn't matter how good I say a product is. If it's not very good and people use it, they're not going to buy it again. And companies want you to keep coming back and buying their products. And you're only going to do that if they're good. You're only going to buy it once on my recommendation if it's terrible, and these companies know that as well. So it's incumbent on me to be honest. The companies want me to be honest, and obviously when you guys come to my channel, you know you're going to get an honest review as well because of all the reviews I've done in the past. So let's get on with actually taking a look at the pencil. So as we can see here, it's a hexagonal barrel, and the core of the barrel is 3.6 millimeters, which is kind of like average. That's round about average for a lot of color pencils in this day and age. The hexagonal barrel, as I said, is a 7.1 millimeter girth. Can't really call it a diameter, it's not a circle. The barrel itself is lacquered in this really nice navy blue. And the print along the barrel is printed in silver leaf, which is metallic writing's always difficult to see in certain lighting, but if you've got a nice dark background and you've got something like silver, it does become a little bit easier to read. But I would like to see maybe pencil companies do away with this silver and gold lettering. Anyway, along the barrel here we have Chroma, which is obviously the name of the pencil. After that we have Super Premium. That's followed by Marco, the company name, and obviously the Marco logo, which is this little M with the pencil on the top of it. There's a little silver ring, which is just decorative, and it separates the barrel to the 3/4 inch pigment identifier on the end of every pencil. There is a number on printed on the pigment identifier, and that represents the pigment, but there's no pigment name on the barrel. So that would be nice if Marco added the pigment names. The more and more I've been doing of reviews and stuff, and getting emails from people, the more and more I understand other people's issues that they have, like whether they're colorblind or partially sighted and things like that, and they need to have these pigment names put on the pencils to give them a much better indication of what they're using. So that's all the information on the actual pencil. What I would like to say about this particular pencil, and I do not know for the life of me why this happens, but it's obviously just got to do with the quality of the paint that they've used to lacquer the barrel. When you sharpen these pencils, they sharpen perfectly. The wood is really nice. I've only had a couple of the pencils where the core has shattered a little bit, but unfortunately that is part and parcel of a soft cored pencil. As we know from Prismacolor and other soft cored pencils, you are going to encounter these problems. But that's not the issue that I have. The issue I have is that when you're sharpening, I think you might as well need to use safety goggles, because the paint chips off, and it's really brittle, so it flies off all over the place. And although it's not a big deal, I'm just mentioning it because it was something I noticed when I was sharpening loads and loads of pencils when I was doing the artwork and what have you. It just kept, like, little flecks of it would just fly off here and there as I was sharpening it. Obviously, if you're using a hand crank sharpener, you're going to have a different experience, but for a handheld sharpener, that was the issue I had. As you can see from the images here popping up on your screen, I'm just showing you here the 3 different layers that are in the 100 set. Now, for pricing and set availability, that you're going to have to go across to the written review for that. The reason why I do that is so that if any of those prices or sets change, then I can amend them over there. I can't really do that here on a video. It's much more difficult to amend things, so I just don't mention prices here. If you want to know prices, if you want to know the different sets that are available, go across to the written review. There'll be a link for that down below. There's always a link for the written reviews down below. Go across and you can take a look. But as you can see there on the first layer of the pencils, they do give you 2 sharpeners in the sets. I'm personally not a big fan of this. I don't really see the point of it. If somebody's going to buy 100 set of pencils, they're going to have a sharpener. It's just something I'm not a huge fan of. I think the only thing that should be in a box of pencils, aside from the pencils, is a watercolor brush if you're buying water-soluble pencils. Other than that, just the pencils are fine. Most people are going to have sharpeners. But as you can see, it's a really nice palette in this 100 set. Now, as I mentioned, the manga is an additional 24 set. Now, as you can see here, they look very different. They have this white barrel. All the information on the barrel is exactly the same as the Chroma. So for the purposes of this review, I will refer to these as just the manga pencils and the Marco Chroma as just the Chroma pencils. But please understand, the core of these pencils is the same in terms of ingredients, as far as I can tell, I've tested them and all the rest of it side by side, and they're identical. The only difference, noticeable difference, is that for the Manga pencils, they sport a 3.8mm core, so slightly thicker than the 3.6 of the Chroma, and the barrel is 7.6, so again a little bit bigger than the 7.1 of the Chroma Colored Pencils. Now, I really don't know why they called this set Manga. And the reason why is because essentially this is the 24 set of pastels. Now, if you cast your mind back to the square set that I'd done, Marco had the 40. I'd done the review of the Marco Square 48 set, and then they had a pastel set with that. These pencils, from what I can tell, the pigments in this set are exactly the same as the pastels in the Marco Square. So if you take a look here, this is the 24 Manga Marco Chroma Colored Pencils, and then this is the Marco Square C8 2024 pastel pencils. And I know the palettes are different. I didn't really notice this at the time, otherwise I'd have done the palettes kind of like in the same order. But if you go across to the written review, I will have these images up over there, so you can go and click on them and enlarge them and what have you, and get a better look of them. But from what I can tell, these colors are identical. It is worth bearing in mind, if you already have the square pastels, I wouldn't suggest you go with a Manga set. The thing is, the reason why I'm not sure why, well, I know why they've called this set the Manga set, because marketing and all the rest of it. But when I've done manga art in the past, and I'm not a manga specialist or an anime specialist or anything at all like that, but when I've done these, when I've done this artwork in the past, the manga is a lot more vivid and blocky. Yes, there's pastel tones in manga, but it's not the core makeup of the artwork. The pastel tones are like a lot of artwork where it's accent tones. It's not really the main bulk of the artwork. So I think maybe calling them manga is a little bit misleading, but they're, at the bottom line, they're really nice pencils in any case. But let me get into showing you now the difference, or the actual performance of the pencils. So first of all, as you can see here, this B is what I done with the Marco Chroma Colored Pencils. I did use 2 pencils from the Manga range. I just needed some lighter tones, and I got that with this Manga range. Incidentally, the colors, the pastel tones that are in the 24 set, the Manga set, are not in the 100 set. But again, there'll be more information over on the written review about that. You'll be able to take a look at the swatches, and you can see yourself that they're not doubled up. But anyway, as you can see here, this Mr. Bumblebee I done here using the Marco Chroma. And again, the reason why I done this, and I didn't put a lot of time or effort into this, I just seen this image and I wanted to draw it. And I done it on the Hanaumile 300-pound hot pressed watercolor paper, which if you watched my live stream, you will have heard me rave about the Hanaumile paper. Well, I used the Hanaumile paper for this B, and I really enjoyed using the pencils. I think the artwork turned out really nice. It's one of my better pieces of artwork, I think. I was really impressed with it. I got everything I needed to from the pencils. Their layering ability, everything was just perfect. I didn't have any issues whatsoever. This paper obviously it's a hot pressed watercolor paper, so it does have a little bit of tooth. But we'll come back to paper in a second, because I did try these pencils on different paper. So before we get on to the test, this is the the palette here for the 100 set, and you can see yourself, if you cast your mind back to the colors that I showed you in the past, the 24. There are a few muted tones here in this 100 set, but not very many. They've got a lot of nice, bright, vibrant, kind of like neon-y type colors and metallic-y type colors in the bottom set, the bottom layers of the 100 set. But all in all, a really nice range of colors there in the 100 set. Nice greens, nice reds, really nice greys. Marco seemed to do really well on their greys, and that's a color group I think in colored pencils in any case gets wildly overlooked unless you're up into sets of 180 and 100 and beyond. But even then, some sets just overlook the greys, and I think the greys are such a nice color family if they're done right. So next up here, of course, is the tests that I always do with the pencils. Now, these tests are subjective to a lot of different things, like the pressure I use, that type of stuff, and the paper I'm using. This test was done on Bristol vellum, and the swatches that I done for both sets, that was done on the Clairefontaine mixed media paint on paper. So I've used like 3 different types of papers. I'll use 4 in a second when I show you what these pencils are like on black paper. But with the artwork, this test, and obviously the black paper test, it should give you a good understanding of what these pencils are like. So as you can see here, the layer test. So the first column here has just 1 light layer. Second column has 2 light layers, and on to the 5 light layers. And then the final column here just has 1 single heavy application of pencil. So you can see here that the pigment in the pencils is really nice and rich and vibrant. And when I'm doing this layering test, I'm basically just using, I'm holding the pencil at the very, very end here, as you would do if you're doing layering on any artwork, just nice and lightly, and building my layers up like that. For anybody that's new to watching this, I always go to 5 layers, because anybody that uses odorless mineral spirits will always tell you that you normally need to put down about 4 or 5 layers before you start applying your odorless mineral spirits. You don't want to have just like 1 or 2 layers, because the odorless mineral spirits isn't going to really give you that painterly effect that you should be looking for with odorless mineral spirits. So the next test here is the blending test. Again, the purpose of this test is just to see if mixing 2 colors gives you a third color. And as you can see here, the blue and the yellow give a really, really prominent green. The yellow and the red give a really nice orange, and then the red and the blue give a decent purple. It's not perfect, I've seen better, but all in all, really quite nice with the blending. And I certainly found that with the bead that I did as well. So no problems there with the blending. And again, I think that's primarily down to the strength of pigment inside the pencil core, and the fact that the core is nice and soft. Now, it's not Prismacolor soft, before anybody asks. It's definitely not Prismacolor soft, but it is soft, and it's that softness that gives you the nice blending and layering, that type of thing. But there is a downside to having a soft core in your pencil, in my experience, and that is that occasionally you will get a pencil that is shattered down the middle, and that's just par for the course. You need to kind of like work out what you want from your pencil. Do you want to have to experience this frustration with really soft cored pencils, or are you quite happy to go into the slightly harder cored pencils where it's very unlikely that you're going to experience or encounter shattered cores, unless like you're drumming with your pencils, or you're dropping them, or playing football with them. Now, the next test here, before we move on to testing this on black paper, is the odorless mineral spirits test. Now, I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit for you. I personally don't use odorless mineral spirits whenever I'm doing colour pencil work. But I know a lot of you guys do, and so it's important that I show this or demonstrate this with any pencil that I'm reviewing. So all I've got here in this little water brush thing is some Zest It odorless mineral spirits. All I've done here is just a sphere with I think about 3 or 4 different blues and a black here, just to darken it at the bottom here. Like I say, I don't normally use odorless mineral spirits. I think you really need to garner some sort of technique for this to work properly. But anyway, I'll give it a go. So I'll start off here on the black, or the dark side of the moon, so to speak. So I'm just applying a little bit of odorless mineral spirits there onto the paper, and just brushing it all through, making sure that it's getting, the brush is actually mixing, picking up the pigment, rubbing it in. And basically this turns your pencil into, it gives you kind of like a painterly effect. Like I say, I don't use it on my artwork. I just don't like it, but that's a personal preference. I know so many artists who use this technique, love this technique, and get absolutely wonderful wonderful effects from it. Basically all it does, or what it does is, as you can see here, as I'm using the odorless mineral spirits here, it is breaking the pigment down of the pencil and it's filling in the tooth of the paper. Now the really good thing about using odorless mineral spirits is, ideally, what you should do is, once you've got your layers down and you've got like about 5 or 6 different layers of pencil down, and then you come in with your odorless mineral spirits and you break it down to give you this nice painterly effect, it reinvigorates the tooth of the paper and therefore allows you to come back in with more layers, kind of like enriching the layers that you've already put down. Sometimes, especially when you're working with softer core pencils, the tooth of the paper fills up quite quickly and you get like a kind of waxy build-up residue that prevents you from getting more than like 5 or 6 different layers. That's where your odorless mineral spirits will come in and really help you out quite a bit. And that is it. Ordinarily, what you would do now is I would come back in with more layers, build that back up again, and work it out like that. But the purpose of this test is just to show you how well or not that the pigment breaks down with odorless mineral spirits. And to be quite honest with you, I thought that broke down quite well. But that's the reason why I show it on the videos, because you can make up your own mind as to whether you think it breaks down or not well enough. And don't forget as well, over on the written review, I will have an image of this sphere dry and then an image after it has had the odorless mineral spirits applied to it. So you'll be able to get a close up and see for yourself whether you think it's worth it or not. Okay, so what I always do is just show you what these pigments look like on black paper. And again, all I do is just apply a heavy application of each pigment going across here. And I just pick out really the primary colours in the white pencil, and that's really about it. This test doesn't show anything good or bad about the pencils. It just shows you how translucent or opaque that the pencils may be. Neither one means that the pencil is good or bad. Some artists like really nice thick opaque pigments or pencil cores, and other artists prefer a more translucent core, something like the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And also as well, in some sets, some pencils will be more opaque than others. It doesn't mean to say that if you test 3 or 4 and they're quite opaque, that they're all going to be like that. It really all depends. You'll be able to see probably quite a mixed bag here of different translucencies or opaqueness in the applications that I'm applying here. And actually, you can see here that the blue is definitely a lot more opaque than the yellow is. That yellow is showing a little bit of the black through the paper. Again, I will have a photograph of this over on the written review, and you'll be able to click on it and see it in much better detail. I'm just using the green here now. And in all honesty, these pencils are actually, all of them are quite opaque. Certainly in comparison to a lot of pencils I've tested on black paper lately. I would say out of the 4 colours that I've applied so far, the red is probably the least opaque. Quite translucent. You can the black paper has certainly had an effect on the dullness of the red. And now the white pencil, which is really what everybody is looking for, hoping that the white pencil is going to be nice and opaque. And you can see here that it's not too bad. So we just got red, yellow, blue, green and white. Like I say, it's just a selection that I always pick for the black paper test, and it just gives you guys an indication as to what the pigments look like, or what the core, looks like on dark paper, because there's a lot of color pencil artists out there that enjoy using black paper. Okay guys, so that's my review of the Marco Chroma Colored Pencils. Don't forget, the written review does add a little bit of extra information with regards to pricing, sets, things like that. I'll have a lot of links over there as well if you want to go across and take a look. There'll be a lot of things there that I've taken photographs of that you'll be able to see images over on the written review. You'll be able to click on the images, enlarge them and inspect them at your own leisure. Same with the artwork. I have a speed drawing of the artwork. You're more than welcome to go across and see that. Again, there'll be a link for that down below. Or failing that, if you don't want to watch the video, I have some still images of the artwork that I took at various stages from start to finish, just to show you the build-up process of the artwork coming together. Again, you can go across, click on those images, enlarge them, and just, zoom in, inspect it, and get a look at the pencil strokes and see it a little bit better than what I'm showing you here in this video. That's why all 4 components that I add into one review should help give you a good overall understanding of what this product is like. So you have this YouTube video review, you've got a written review, you've got a speed drawing of the artwork, and then you've got some still images of the artwork on a page on its own. So you've got all 4 separate facets of the review to help you get a better understanding of the pencils. Like I said, the Manga pencils, from what I can tell and from what Marco have said to me, the core ingredient of both these pencils are the same. It's just the Manga's a little bit thicker, plus also, obviously, this is 24 pastel tones. Now, the tones are gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but if you already have the pastel tones in the square set, you're not likely going to need this set at all, so bear that in mind. But the colours that are in the Marco Chroma 100 set here, which is the entire range, there's no bigger set. Really, really nice. Now, with regards to light fastness, there is no light fastness. They'll say that they're light fast test and what have you, but it's not ASTM, it's not Blue Wool, it's not anything like that, and the price reflects that, so it's important you understand that. Any artwork that you do with these, like the bee that I've just done, if you want to sell it, I would suggest you do something like prints, and then that way you can get some sort of archivability through the prints that you're going to use, and sell them that way and keep your original artwork. If you want to sell your original artwork, as I always say, you're going to need to do those with the higher end light fast pencils. Anyway, thank you so much guys for watching this review. As I said, I'm so sorry for the delay in getting this stuff out to you. I have had man flu. I'm dying. I'm going back to my bed now to die. And I shall see you all very soon. And I can't thank you enough for the support that you've given me. And another thing as well, I know I'm apologising for the delay in getting it out to you, but I know you guys are always incredibly understanding. I know you guys never put any pressure on me or anything like that. The pressure comes from within. But that said, I'm off now to get myself a hot lemsip and go back to bed. Thanks very much, guys. I shall see you all soon. If you've got any questions about the Marco Chroma Colored Pencils, please, by all means, leave them down in the comments section below. Failing that, if you don't want to ask a question in public, you're by all means more than welcome to email me. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. But bear one thing in mind. The community that is built up around the Art Gear Guide is absolutely phenomenal. The people that are in there all the time, commenting, leaving comments, are just the best people ever. Nothing you put down there is going to get ridiculed or anything like that. So please make sure you are aware of that. The people that are on my Facebook channel and the YouTube channel and things like that are amazing people. They're not there to ridicule anybody. Everybody is there to help everybody and to help everybody grow and get a better understanding of the products. All the best, guys, and I shall see you all again very, very soon. Bye.